Good morning and welcome to AP Physics for the 2020 school year. I'm Nick Williams. I'll be teaching AP Physics this year, and AP Physics is one of our STEM Marin courses, Think Hard, Work Hard. So a little bit about me. This is my 14th year teaching here at San Marin High School. My contact info is on the screen, nwilliams@nusd.org. I grew up in Oakland. My family is from New Zealand. So every once in a while, you'll find there's a little accent that sneaks in there. I went to school at UC Davis, did a bachelor's degree there in evolution and ecology, which is like big scale biology, population modeling, mathematical modeling of living things. Then I did a very short stint as an environmental monitor looking for endangered snakes. On construction sites. There were very few endangered snakes on construction sites because they're building stuff and they don't like to live there once the big machinery comes in. And then I realized that my true passion was in teaching and working with young people. And so I went back to school at UC Davis again, got a teaching credential and a master's degree in science education. And I have been here in Novato ever since. And that was 14 years ago. I am married. I have 3 little kids. That's Zoe, Eli, and Poppy on screen there. And we live just around the corner from San Marin High School. So it is very likely that you will see me or in some combination of these people wandering around the neighborhood or around town. Say hi. Outside of school, I love running. I love being outside, hitting trails, and spending time in the garden. All right. AP Physics is one of our STEM Marin courses. Many of you are probably familiar with our STEM Marin philosophy at the San Marin Science Department. So obviously content is a big piece of it, but it all builds on work ethic, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Our course schedule for AP Physics, we are going to go through 10 total units. The AP Physics course has 10 units. I've condensed some of them together because we're putting an entire year's worth of content into one semester. So I've comboed some of the units. So we're going to hit 8 specific units, starting with motion. We'll call it kinematics, and then dynamics, which is forces. Then we'll get into specific types of motion, circular motion and gravitation. We'll talk about energy, momentum, harmonic motion, which is basically like a pendulum or a spring going up and down, torque and rotational motion. So again, that's spinning. Circular motion is generally going around in a circle, and then rotational motion is like the spinning part. And then we'll hit electricity. So that's electrostatics, electric charge, electric force, and then we'll also do some circuits, DC circuits only. So looking at current and voltage on a circuit. And then finally we'll end with mechanical waves and sound. Should be a ton of fun. It's like a nice comprehensive look at a lot of the physics that you can get hands-on in. So we're not going to get into like theoretical physics, any of the quantum stuff or atomic stuff, but we will look kind of like at the macro physics stuff. All right, for our unit structure. So every time we do a unit, we will have 2 components to our learning. There will be a synchronous part. That's the part where we're all face-to-face on Zoom. And we'll use that for things that we are going to be planning, thinking, or analyzing. For AP Physics, that's almost entirely going to be experiments and labs. We will end up doing an experiment or lab at least once or twice for each unit. We will have some, I mean, you could call some of them projects. So it'll be like a lab with an application, and the application will be the project component. It'll be for small group collaborative work. So when we're together almost the entire time, I'll be shooting you into breakout rooms with about 3 people in them to discuss, to solve problems, to think through your experiments, run your experiments, and then I'll be coming in, popping in between the rooms to help you adjust your thinking and make it successful. So that's the first component, is the on Zoom piece. The second component is the asynchronous piece. So that's the part that you can do at any time. Like this, it's a pre-recorded direct instruction kind of video. So I will be doing all of my lecture, all of my direct instruction through pre-recorded videos. We'll walk through each chapter together. I'll show you how to do some practice problems. then I'll assign a whole lot of practice problems. Those will also be asynchronous, so you'll work on those independently. Once they're due, I'll post the key for them, and I'll ask you to write down which questions you still don't understand so I can go over them in a little bit more detail. I'll probably do that asynchronously as well. So I'll go through every problem that people had trouble with, like after seeing the answers, and kind of detail out how I solved them. Other asynchronous work. We will be taking a practice test at the mid-end of every unit. That's called a personal progress check, and it's on the AP Classroom website. You'll be getting access to your AP Classroom website pretty soon. That's going to be a practice test that'll have 2 free response questions and at least 15 multiple choice questions, sometimes up to 40. And then at the end of the unit, we'll take a unit exam, and that is also through AP Classroom, and that'll also be 2 free response questions and 15 multiple choice questions. And that'll be consistent for every single unit. You'll also have a website, and you'll post reflections and learning on your website. All right, so our grading scale, we're gonna grade on the AP scale. So the AP scale is a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 scale. I'm assigning a 5 to an A+, a 4 A-, 3 would be a B, 2 is a C, 1 is a D, and if you just don't do it, that is an F. On the actual AP, you can't get a 0 unless you don't take it. So for us, a 0 would be like, I didn't do it, I didn't turn it in, that would earn you a 0. 70% of your grade will be the content section of your grade. That will be mostly exams, almost entirely exams. Conscientious learner is completing all of the work and turning it in, and communication would be your lab reports and your presentation. So that's the synchronous stuff, and then how you put that together and turn it in. Clarity of work, connection to content, etc. So let's look at, oops, there it is, the content section. So for the content section, it is going to make up 70% of your grade. To earn the score of a 5, you would need to earn, so this is where it gets a little bit tricky. The AP does not give specific percentages on how it breaks down, because it varies a little bit year to year depending on the questions that they give. As a general rule of thumb, it's somewhere in the, if you get 85% of the questions right, that earns you a 5. And so I'm going to go with 85 to 100% is going to be about our 5. Again, I reserve the right to wiggle that just a little bit, depending on how difficult those questions are. A 4 would be a 70% to an 85. 3 is 55% to a 70. A 2 gives you a 30 to a 55%. And then a 1 would be the bottom 30%, like you've got less than 30% of the questions right. So less than a third of them right. And then a 0%, which is not a valid score on the AP, would be you didn't do it. For conscientious learner and communication, all of this is shown to you in your syllabus. So please read your syllabus carefully. It has more detail on all of this grading stuff. But you can see we're going to look at conscientious learning and communication and what all of that looks like on the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 scale. All right, so when you look at that content and you were like, oh my God, if I just get a 70%, I have an A, this is going to be easy. And it does sound like that, doesn't it? Here's the tricky piece. So this is the national score breakdown. And looking at the national score breakdown for the AP Physics 1 test, you can see that about 7% of students end up getting a 5, 18% end up getting a 4, 20% get a 3, so that's 45% that get a passing score on AP Physics 1. So those percentages are low. It's a really tough test, but I'm really good at teaching. So I think we're gonna do really well. This is the national score breakdown. And I think we can do a heck of a lot better. My goal is to push everybody up to at least a 3 so that we can really thrive together. All right, our community commitments. So for San Marin High School, and I know some of you are virtual learning academy students coming from Novato High. For this class, I'm just going to assume we're all part of San Marin. So our community commitments are, we are reliable. Show up on time, stay in class. We have about 45 sessions together total for the entire school year. If you miss one of those, that's 2% of the whole class, a little bit more than 2% of the whole class. So you gotta be there, you gotta be there on time. Focus, we use technology productively. Staying focused and staying organized is gonna be really, really important this year, because if you don't have that focus, it's gonna be really challenging to get everything done. The work is gonna come fast. Because we're pushing everything into a semester and we still have the pressure of the AP exam at the end, we're gonna have to kind of crank. Effort, put forth your strongest effort in class and out. So I do expect to see your absolute best work in everything you're doing. And then respect, treat each other with kindness. We intervene to stop hateful or harmful speech. You'll be in small breakout rooms with other students. I won't always be in those small breakout rooms, so it is really on you to ensure that you are standing up for everybody else in your group and making sure that nothing negative, harmful, or hateful happens during that time. Obviously, if something does happen, you let me know. Okay, so with all of that, there are a few more pieces that you have. On Wednesday, you are coming onto campus at some point between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. to pick up your AP Physics textbook. You will need that for the first week of school, so please make sure you come to that pickup. You will also be picking up your core tools packet, and let me just pull one of those for you. It will look something like this, and it has all of the tools that I think you are going to need throughout the school year to reference over and over and over again. One that I really want to highlight is your AP Physics equation sheet. So the equation sheet looks like this, and I'm going to give you 2 copies of it because it's really important. This is the sheet that has every single equation that you will get on the AP exam. So they're going to give you a copy of this for the AP test. So we're going to be using it as our go-to cheat sheet. We're going to be adding little things to it, adjusting it, but this is one to always use with you. If you've taken my 9th grade physics class, it's like our physics everything sheet, but they pre-make it for you. And they have some slightly different variables than you might be used to. Like we've used D for distance, and now they're going to use X for distance, like a x-axis. So we'll go through and talk a little bit more about the variations on this, but this one is key. Have this with you a bunch. And then finally, you'll also be picking up your lab kit. So I'm going to send you home with a meter stick, a spring scale for measuring force, so you can pull on it or hang things from it to take the mass or the weight of things, and then you can also take a force with it. And it's also going to have some rubber bands, some marbles, some string, and then the one thing that I couldn't get for you is 4 rolls of pennies. So I'm going to ask you to try to acquire those for yourself because there's a coin shortage and they wouldn't let me withdraw 200 pounds of pennies. Yeah, it turns out they looked at me kind of weird when I walked in and asked for 200 pounds of, or $200 worth of pennies. Is what it is. So, and the pennies are just to have as a mass. So we'll be doing a lot of experimenting, hands-on physical experiments, because I think that is the best way to learn. And then we'll be doing a lot of practice problems and a lot of practice AP tests. All of our tests will be from the real AP tests. All right. With that, I am super excited to start our journey together. I think it's going to be a really positive experience, and I am looking forward to learning some AP Physics with you. Until we see each other on, I don't know, either Thursday or Friday, I don't know what period AP Physics is scheduled yet, but whenever I see you, that's when I see you.